This certainly wasn't on your 2025 bingo card. RENNSPORT, which is currently in early access, is joining forces with French publisher Nacon, which is further expanding its racing division. At the same time, RENNSPORT announces its release on consoles later this year, and the team visited us in our office to organize a preview event with other creators, where we were able to test a revised GT3 Physics with a new Tyre model. As well as sharing some impressions of the latter, I also had the chance to talk to Marco, CEO and co-founder of Competition Company, the studio behind RENNSPORT. He had some interesting facts and surprises up his sleeve and was very transparent, so we got some pretty interesting insights, but there was some information that some people might not like, so let's dive in head first. Welcome back to Overtake, I'm Michel, and first a word about transparency. RENNSPORT and Nacon have booked our office space and rigs to host this hands-on event in Cologne. Our report on the announcements, the interview, and feedback on the new build is independent, neutral, and of course includes my own opinion. RENNSPORT has not had an easy development history so far. It was used for the ESL R1 Sim Racing Championship 2 years ago, before going into closed beta. Then came the open beta in July 24, followed by the Steam release, and finally the start of early access in December. So far, the community has not really taken to the game, and the reviews on Steam are mostly negative. The idea and identity of the title was not really clear, and the monetization put many off. Especially the practice of selling content and premium battle passes in early access caused a lot of criticism. So it's time to do things differently, and now it seems that the first steps are being taken towards a shift in focus. Together with their publisher Nacon, RENNSPORT will release on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S in addition to the PC later in 2025, thus leaving early access at that point. Nacon is the publisher that also has KT Racing under their umbrella, known for several WRC games, up to WRC Generations, and most recently TDU Solar Crown. Nacon is also active in the hardware market and even brings their own sim racing equipment with their new brand RevoSim. I was able to test the first prototypes at Gamescom last year. Yannick was in Paris this week and brought us a new hands-on with the new 9Nm wheel, which will also appear here on the channel. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell to stay up to date. Getting more sim racing options also on console is a very positive thing. But then RENNSPORT co-founder Marco Ujhasi gave me some information I didn't expect. So here with me is now Marco from RENNSPORT, from Competition Company. Nice to meet you, Marco. Welcome here in our office, actually. So Marco, what are you exactly doing at Competition Company? What are you doing for RENNSPORT?
Maurice and I, we set up RENNSPORT and we developed it to where we are. So we are sharing also the responsibilities as a CEOs there. So thanks for having me.
What makes the sim racers out there choose RENNSPORT to start on their sim racing rigs over any other sim this year and also in the future?
I guess we have some exciting news shared with you guys today. So we are the sim racing title you can experience cross-platform with a proper simulated driving immersion and driving feeling, no matter from where you join us. In other words, crossplay and cross-progression between all platforms. This means that with your RENNSPORT account, you can take all your achievements, content, rank, level progression, and so on with you when you make the step from PS5 to PC, for example. Marco was also able to give us some details about the multiplayer features, experience, and server structure. Can you also have this toggle switch where you say, I want only to race on PC? Yes. Will also be possible, but also the anti-cheat is a bit related what is happening in the background.
And there will also be an option for leagues hosting their own events. Can you rent a dedicated server, or is it all like then client-based hosting?
No, we will have the dedicated server structure there in place, absolutely. And you can, like we do for the competitions, you can just configure what you're doing. We just are not 100% happy with the usability for now, so we don't want to give it in your hands until we have optimized it around our sporting.
We also had an exciting multiplayer race with the creators and some RENNSPORT developers that took part in this race remotely. That sounds and looks good so far, also for leagues and communities and online races in general, because maximizing the player base is also helpful for any matchmaking or ranking system. But for players or racers to be interested in RENNSPORT at all, the base has to be right. The preview build did not contain any new content, but the Tyre physics for the GT3 class were reworked. And that feels like a step in the right direction. The cars are much crispier to drive, although you can still feel some of the floaty feeling mid-corner, especially on more open, faster tracks like Fuji. While the tire temperature is already quite dynamic, other details such as the influence of friction and temperature on the tire pressure still need to be fine-tuned, I think. FFB under braking and ABS and TC implementation also need work in my opinion. Everything is still pretty flat. In other simulators you can feel the load on individual tires and weight shifts a bit more. Curbs and bumps communicate much better with the new update though. For example, the Nordschleife in the Aston Martin GT3 here feels authentic and you quickly understand where the limits of the car are. This is a good sign and I really like the surface in the green hell. Unlike ACC, you don't get the feeling that there are huge potholes everywhere. It was also good to see that the build worked well with the various hardware components we had installed on our 5 rigs, some of which were very different. We had SimMagic, Alpha Mini, Fanatec DD+, Moza, Simocube and Azatec installed with different pedal sets. Regarding the different concepts and engine positions, the handling characteristics of the cars could be emphasized a bit more. The Audi R8 with its mid-engine rotates a bit more on the vertical axis, but this is very subtle. The Porsche in particular shows too little movement under braking. The term flat for the handling is also appropriate here. Something more needs to happen, and the setups of the cars also haven't really changed much for the driving yet. Since you can see some rather lonely time trial footage here, I also asked about AI, as it was completely missing so far in RENNSPORT, and it was confirmed that AI racing is also in development. A dedicated career mode is also something I asked for, but it seems like that's not on the agenda at the moment. He just said single-player AI experiences. A special shout out and thanks to Elgato for supporting us with their easy-to-use production equipment. For this event we set up recording rigs for the creators and it was super easy using a Stream Deck to start and stop recording in OBS for example and mix the audio on the fly for the different voice levels. The Elgato Wave DX mic is a perfect match for the Wave XLR interface and Wave Link software. With just a few clicks you can adjust EQs, compressors and de-essers to deliver good audio, and the built-in voice focus eliminates any echo or background noise. An absolute recommendation from me. Basically, RENNSPORT is very open to feedback and depends on it for the next few months of early access. The monetization model will be changed as well. There was even an apology for being absent or less involved with the community last year.
What's the best way for people to get you feedback?
So Discord is best. Lucas is doing an amazing job collecting feedback there. I really want to apologize that we were not really active in 2024. We had to do a lot of tech work in the background, so we were not as communicative and as service orientated as we should be. But for 25, I guess we're in a better position to not just listen, but also react.
The technical aspect and graphic performance optimization still needs work in the coming months too. RENNSPORT is based on the Unreal Engine 5, which is still not optimal in terms of anti-aliasing and upscaling, especially for fast-moving objects like race cars. And of course, we ask about triples, VR and telemetry.
Triple screen. So right now you can stretch it with like NVIDIA Surround across the monitors. You have some sort of correction menu already, but the native triple screen support that the sim racer likes to talk about, is that also something that you'll focus on then?
I would love to, but for now we don't. Just clear statement there, because this would mean, and greetings to Marco, he experienced that with ACC. It's a huge challenge in the Unreal environment. It's not meant for this, so you need to fork the engine. And when you want to benefit from all the further developments in that environment, you cannot fork the engine. It's just not possible to make it in an efficient way. What we want to bring back definitely is VR. We had it out there for a few weeks. and you gave us hard feedback. We take it serious, so we put a lot of work in there. I cannot promise when we bring it back, but it's definitely part of our strategy to do that.
Telemetry. So we saw so far no sim-up integration. Some wheels don't work with the LEDs and ABS and so on. So is that also something on the agenda at the team for the PC users?
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned you have several hardware manufacturers there. So we focused on the first step, providing a good feedback no matter what hardware you're using, and further down the road we are optimizing also all those devices, gadgets, more infos you can get. And when we are talking about telemetry, it's also about the telemetry channels, what information you get out of the game. We switched on in this build, what you guys will receive soon, also some additional channels. So yes, absolutely, we will do.
A clear message about triples, even if that's really not what the triple users want to hear. We've already had a few surveys on this. Around 12% of our community use triples. So it's the same dilemma as with EAWRC. Then I ask again what the development towards the full release till the end of this year would look like in the next few months.
At the moment we are carefully evaluating our roadmap. First we want to solve all the community topics which not have been solved during 24, making improvements there, and we will carefully evaluate what we drop.
So the main focus right now is not really bringing new cars, new content, maybe new license stuff like IMSA races, for example, but it's more like getting the core elements, the physics of the title right.
Exactly. So really catching up from all the feedback we got from you guys, driving that experience forward. And content is always interesting, and it's not for sure not the case that we are not working on content.
And then what's also important and also part of your marketing initially, we saw the great track that Nuke Drop, for example, created for the last update. So what is required, for example, to create a track for RENNSPORT? Is there some sort of address that people have to reach out, or will that be a more easy process like a mod tool? Especially, let's just focus on the track part right now.
Yeah, so you mentioned it. We have 2 community tracks already in the game, and for now the pure integration into the game is a lot of manual work for us still to support. When I say a lot, then it's about a week for us to set up all the gameplay elements and so on, and over time, and we are already making good progress there. It's not the manual process anymore. If you want to do it now, reach out to us also via Discord, and then we can easily help to make it run. You do not necessarily need to build on Unreal Engine. You can use other tools, and we have that transition path into the Unreal environment.
But there won't be some sort of workshop where people can just put something. It's still like a manual process also throughout the next couple of months, I guess.
Yes. During this year, absolutely, yes.
But that also means that everything that is already kind of in the game and adapted has also a good chance to be in the console version. So the community content can also be in the console versions. Or is that
yes.
Okay.
The scope of RENNSPORT's content is currently anything but extensive, and what Marco is proposing still requires a lot of work. They now have the support of a publisher and a clearer agenda to work towards. We have seen a lot of announcements and a first step to get closer to the community. Now we need action and a better product. The part of the team we've met seems very passionate. They are people like us with love for motorsports and sim racing. Let's keep our fingers crossed. More options and more competition is always good in our field. And you've heard it, the official RENNSPORT Discord is a good way to get involved. Give them your feedback, but also our comment section down below. Just let us know what you think about RENNSPORT and the recent announcement. The early access is still free to play. The build with the GT3 Physics update should also be available soon. The interview with Marco with some additional takes is also available in written form on our website. Here's our playlist of the previous RENNSPORT updates. Thanks for watching and see you next time.